Hi guys, it's Dr. George here for Tucked In Tuesdays. And I don't think I've ever had this many people with me, but I'm so excited. You see two names tonight. That's because we're reading a book about pets. And many of you in BISD and in the state of Texas, you've heard about this book before. Good evening, Miss Bridges. How are you? Good evening. Hi, Miss Bridges. And also put where you're from because you have new people watching. Hi, Kylie. And Kylie's from London. She's faithful. And so I have another name on here, and it's because it's Franny Face, my little turtle. And so if you have a pet, if you can grab your pet so they can listen to a story, and I'll start bringing people out one at a time. Hi, Ava, Ari, and Pop Pop. I missed you guys. Hi, Lori Cox. How are you? Hi, Sharon Jar. So I'll start bringing people out. The first person I'll bring out is Miss Victoria, the author of the book. Hello. And so I'm going to put those. Thank you, Miss Amber. Hello, Miss Duke. Hi, Miss Dodie. And so next person I'm going to add is, without her bringing this to the district, we wouldn't even have this book in our hands. So Miss Sarah Johnson and her special guest. And so that's Miss Sarah Johnson. So we have more people in the bag. Yes, please acknowledge Franny. And so Miss Sarah Johnson, tell us a little bit about how the district got Fenway and Hattie.
So we are so excited that we were able to bring Texas Reads One Book to Beaumont ISD. Texas Reads One Book is part of the Read to Them family, and their mission is to have families reading together. And that mission just fits so well with our mission here in the district to encourage families to enjoy literacy together. This was really just about getting books in the hands of every third, fourth, and fifth grader we have, having them enjoy literature with their family, and getting to have what we've been calling a shared literacy experience. We know all these kids have played the same video games, but now they've all read the same book too, and we have something great to talk about.
Love that, Sarah. So Sarah, tell them what you do in the district.
So I am the third through fifth grade English Language Arts and Reading curriculum coordinator. So when we were able to bring this book in, not only were we able to let families read at home and bring in these family engagement activities, but we got to develop some curriculum to go along with it and, really work with this book. And I've got to tell you, Victoria Coe, you've done a marvelous job of coming up with a book that teaches children how to infer, to deal with multiple meaning words. There are really a lot of course, point of view, a lot of great opportunities for learning that go along with this book.
Yes, it is. And hi, Mabry. And I want to tell you about Mike. Mike is a faithful Tucked In Tuesday, so he's going to fact check everything that you said. So you put a few facts in there. It is Dr. Seuss's birthday. It's Read Across America Day. I think his birthday is the 5th. But Mike, it is Read Across America Day week, so you are right. And so we have my favorites from New York and Tampa. And hi, Charlotte from Sally Curtis. We love Fenway and Hattie and love Dr. George and Tucked In Tuesday. So hello. So I have some special guests backstage. Before I bring them out, Victoria, tell us about Fenway and Hattie. And I'm going to let my little sidekick, Mr. Johnson, introduce yourself, and then you can do the honors of asking her that question.
Hello, my name's Nathan. I go to
Nathan.
yeah.
Just ask your question.
Yeah, okay. So what inspired the book?
That's a great question, Nathan, and I do get asked that all the time. So Fenway and Hattie was actually inspired by something that really happened to me.
Ah.
I had already been writing for many, many years, but I had not yet written my first book. And my family was moving, and we had a dog, and his name was Kipper, and he was the worst dog ever. But we loved him very, very much, and he was part of our family. But we were moving, and he didn't understand what was going on, and we were so busy because we were getting ready to move. And he kind of freaked out, and we weren't even moving that day. We were just getting ready for the next day when the moving truck was coming, and we put a lot of things in the garage. And he got so freaked out that he got into the car. I don't remember how he got in, but he sat in the passenger seat shaking like he was terrified, and he refused to get out of the car for the whole day. We had to bring him water. I mean, he just would not get out of the car. And we had to keep going about what we were doing because we were so busy with the move. But, you know, all of us in the family would talk to each other and say, what's going on with Kipper? And it was kind of obvious to us that he was very afraid. And he must have thought that if he stayed in the car, then when we left, he would have to come along too, as if he were afraid that we might leave him behind, which of course we would never do. But he didn't know that. And that kind of broke my heart a little bit. And so after it got into my heart and it stayed in my heart, the next few days as we were going through the process of moving, it kind of got into my imagination. And as I said, I had already been writing for many years, and I started to think to myself, could this be a character? Not my real dog Kipper, but could I make up a character who was that insecure and that worried and afraid when his family was moving and he didn't understand and he was thinking that maybe they might leave him behind? And that actually became the first chapter of Fenway and Hattie.
Thank you for that. And thank you for asking that. So I do have two special guests that I call backstage, and I'm going to bring out the first one. And Ms. Johnson, I'm going to allow you to tell, why are Casey and Kaylee on here tonight?
So we were so excited to announce that Casey and Kaylee have won the Texas Reads One Book Redesigning the Book Cover contest. Casey took a picture of her sister Kaylee and their dog Lexi, I believe, and it is an absolutely adorable photo, and it will be used for the Texas Reads One Book and shared far and wide. We will be sharing it on the BISD Facebook pages tomorrow.
Love that. Congratulations. So you guys get to ask her a pressing question. So Kaylee, do you want to go first? Or Casey, either one of you.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to ask Mrs. Coe, how did you come up with the name Fenway for the dog and Hattie for the little girl?
That is another great question. I'm so glad you asked that. So I live in Massachusetts, and actually I said I was moving when I had this idea. So we actually lived in Boston, and where I lived and where I live now, a lot of people name their dogs after sports names. And I thought that these people in my story, that they would do that too. But I didn't want to choose a name that would go away, because I thought, well, this was 10 years ago when I had this idea. And so I wanted it to be able to live on, you know, as people read the book years into the future. So I didn't want to choose a name of a player, because a lot of players, you know, they retire or they go on to another team. And even sports arenas sometimes change their names, but not Fenway Park. Fenway Park is a baseball park in Boston where the Boston Red Sox play. It is the oldest ballpark in Major League Baseball. It has been called Fenway Park for over 100 years. And I thought to myself, well, that name is not going anywhere. So that's how I picked the name Fenway. And the other thing that I thought was cool, as Mrs. Johnson said, there's a lot of things you have to infer about the story, because Fenway is a dog, and one thing he doesn't know is where he lives. So I thought that that would be a clue to the reader that he lived in Boston. Hattie, unfortunately, is not as interesting a story. Hattie is a girl's name that just popped into my head. And I don't know anyone named Hattie. I have since met a lot of people named Hattie, but at the time I had never met anyone before named Hattie, but the name popped into my head and I thought that would be a great name. Hi, whoever's from Agawam, Massachusetts, Mike. Agawam is the western part of Massachusetts, and I live on the coast, on the eastern part.
Okay. Casey, do you want to ask a question?
No, ma'am.
All righty. So we have another special guest. I just thought it would be nice to someone who just reads even before your book, just a top reader. And here is Lorik Graham. So hi, Lorik. How are you?
Good.
Hi, Lorik.
Okay.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you for
So do you
inviting me
have
here
a
today.
question you'd like to ask?
Are there any other books in the series?
Yes, what another great question. So, as you all know, Fenway and Hattie is the first book, and you can tell because it has the number 1 on the top, right? There is a second Fenway and Hattie book called Fenway and Hattie and the Evil Bunny Gang. That's number 2. And there's a third book called Fenway and Hattie Up to New Tricks, and that's the third one. And then there is the fourth one called Fenway and Hattie in the Wild. Yes, which I see right over there. All 4 of these books are out in both hardcover and paperback. And actually 2 of them are going to be coming out in audiobook in the fall, but that hasn't been announced yet. You didn't hear that from me. And there are 4 more Fenway and Hattie books that are going to be coming out starting next year, and they are going to be shorter books. So if any of you have any younger siblings who might be interested, they're going to be illustrated, and they're going to be shorter books with more Fenway stories and less of Hattie stories, but still there will be lots of squirrels.
Love that. So what we're going to do today is we're going to read chapter 1. I'm going to read chapter 1. Now, I did break a rule, Victoria, because I always read the book the night of, but Sarah made the whole district do homework. And so I had to break my own rule and read the book in advance. And so this is the first time that I've cheated, but it was worth it. But hello, Miss Martin and Miss Clayton. And Miss Martin said hello to my student Casey, her sister Kaylee. I'm so proud of you. So I wanted to give you that shout out. So I'll go ahead because I don't know if you know this, Victoria, but did you know that your book is an AR book?
Yes, I actually did know that.
So it goes across the ticker. It gives you the AR quiz number 181635, book level 3.6, which means a third grader at the 6th month. And this is a 4-point book. I only used to read half points. So wow, this is a big one here. So I'll read chapter 1 just in case you haven't read the book. I'll go ahead and start reading the book, chapter 1. So if you have your book, you can follow along again, or you can just listen to Dr. George. But chapter 1, as soon as we get off the elevator, I know something is wrong. Our apartment has no mat in the front. The muddy boots and fake flowers are gone. The doorway looks empty, abandoned, like nobody lives here. Who took our stuff? Intruders? Strangers? Squirrels? Fetch man opens the door, and I race inside, nose to the floor. I sniff for clues, but all I smell are food lady, fetch man, and Hattie, my own family. I rush into the eating place. Apparently, food lady is not aware that things are missing. She gives me a quick pat, then sighs, like she has a big job to do. She's completely focused on a pile of boxes, packages. Miss McPherson. My tail goes nuts. I stick my snout in the closet box and begin rooting around. But it smells boring like old teacups, not new and exciting like a package. Fenway! Food lady. Oh, well, let me change that because she's not happy. Fenway! Food lady scolds. That's human for you're in trouble. My ears droop. I back away. I was only doing my job. Packages must be inspected. What if they're hiding something dangerous or delicious? Fetchman smiles and kisses food lady's cheek. He speaks quickly and gestures a lot, like he's the happiest human in the world. What's he so excited about? Isn't he worried about our stuff being stolen? Good thing my humans have a Jack Russell Terrier on patrol. We're obviously in terrible danger. There's so much to do. I keep sniffing around, but I do not find one single clue. And no tasty crumbs or yummy drips either. Food lady wraps noisy paper around the dishes and tucks them into a big box. She grabs crinkly bags of chips and pretzels and cookies, cans and jars too. Pretty soon, the cabinets are cleared out. Hey, wait a minute. What are we supposed to eat? I must warn my short human. I race to her room, barking the whole way. Bad news, Hattie. We're going to starve. But when I get there, she's surrounded by boxes too. She looks miserable. Probably because she couldn't come to the dog park. Hattie loves playing ball and chase as much as I do. Even though I have terrible news, she forgets how sad she is when she sees me. Fenway, she sings in her sweet voice. That means here's a treat. Hooray, hooray, I bark, blasting through the door. That's my Hattie, always thinking of me. I scamper over a box and hurl myself at her legs. I can hardly wait. Oh, she says with a giggle, reaching into her pocket. The treat sails into my mouth. Chump, wowee, that hits the spot. Hattie pats my head and gazes into my eyes, her face back to being sad. Like that was the very last treat. That's what I was saying, Hattie. We've been wiped out, I barked, probably by squirrels. Her shoulders sank with the horrible realization. I nuzzle her ankle. Don't worry, your protector is here. She must be feeling worse than I thought because her dark eyes go right to the way up high shelf. She climbs onto the bed and reaches for the fuzzy toy that used to be a bear, but is now only the upper half with one arm. Uh-oh, that means something scary is happening. Like a stormy night with rain and boom kabooms. Hattie pulls the used to be bear off the high shelf. She clutches it to her chest. She is scared. Good thing I'm here to cheer you up. As she's stepping down, I snatch the used to be bear from her arms. I zip around the bed and fly over a box. Hattie's on my tail laughing. Hey, she says, reaching out her arms. I'm just beyond her grasp. I'm hopping through a pile of shoes when I stumble over something hard. Ouch! My bedtime hairbrush. What's it doing on the floor? Sensing opportunity, Hattie lunges. Drop it, she shouts in a voice that sounds anything but angry. She's fast, but I'm faster. I spring onto the bed. I bury my nose in the rumpled blankets. They smell like mint and vanilla, just like she does. You see, I smell that. You saw me go, I could imagine that. Hattie flops down beside me, smiling. She takes the used to be bear and grabs me tight. Best buddy, she coos. She kisses my brown paw, then my white paw. She showers my neck with kisses, our favorite snuggle game. I slobber her cheek as she giggles. She's the best short human ever. Food lady appears in the doorway. One hand's on her hip, the other's pointing at the boxes. Hattie, she scolds. Hattie's smile disappears. As she bolts up, I hop off her chest. She smells worried. I know how she feels. I wait for food lady to start yelling in a bossy voice, but instead, the words I hear are Hattie's. She sounds anxious. She picks up the long jump rope that she brings to the place where short humans with backpacks go. She shows food lady a card. I catch a whiff of hardened frosting from the time a pack of short humans invaded, and I warned Hattie that her treats were on fire. As Hattie goes on, food lady's angry face gets softer and softer until it's turned to sad. Oh, baby, she says in a soothing tone. She sits next to us on the bed. Hattie leans into her arm. Food lady strokes Hattie's bushy hair. I nuzzle in under food lady's hand. I could use a few strokes too, you know, I whimper, right behind this ear. Food lady rocks us gently the way she did when Hattie's knee was hurt. She gave us both a pat and gets up. Okay, she asks. Hattie nods and sniffles a few times. Okay, she says. But I know she's still worried. Hattie's sad and scared and packing things. It reminds me of something, but what? If only I could think of it. When food lady's gone, Hattie tosses the jump rope into a box. Then clothes, whoosh, and shoes, clump. She picks up the used to be bear and squeezes it tight. And then I remember what this reminds me of. It was right before Hattie disappeared for 2 whole nights. And something terrible must have happened to her because when she finally came back, her clothes smelled horrible, like burnt marshmallows and squirrels. Oh no, could it be happening again? I knew something was wrong. Hattie is leaving. Hattie is leaving. I sprang up and run in circles. She can't go, at least not without her loyal dog. Hey, if I stick by her side, she'll have to take me with her. Wowee, it's the best idea ever. As Hattie turns from box to box, I'm on her like fur. When she closes the last one, she heads for the door. I beat her to it. She leaps over me and I chase her to the eating place. Food lady standing at the counter licking her fingers. She looks up and holds out a white bag that smells like donuts. Breakfast, she calls. Yippee, I bark, racing to food lady's feet. Hattie squeals, then grabs the bag and crinkles it open. I leap on her legs and lick my chops. Hattie bites into a squishy donut. and a lovely glob of goo drips right into my mouth. Vanilla. I swallow quickly. More, please, I bark, jumping on her legs again. Hattie giggles, but when Food Lady crosses her arms, she stops. Right then, a rattling sounds at the front door. Intruders. I charge into the lounging place as the door swings open. I'm ready to pounce. It's Fetch Man. He was gone. I spring up and paw his knees. I miss you so much, I bark. Is it playtime? But he's all business, and he's not alone. A group of large strangers follows him in, one after another. They come through the door reeking of coffee and sweat, a suspicious combination, and Fetch Man is not making one move to stop them. Hey, who are you? Why are you here? I bark, lunging toward them, but stopping a safe distance from the first stranger. He's a lot bigger than Fetch Man. Shh, Fetch Man says. He grabs me by the collar and pulls me to the far side of the room. Watch out, I bark. These guys are probably dangerous. As if to prove my point, the very large strangers begin lifting the boxes. One of them takes the flashing screen right off of the wall. Can't you see they're stealing our stuff? I bark, wiggling and kicking. Let me go. I must be free to do my job. But my warnings aren't going done one bit of good. Fetch Man and Food Lady just stand there, watching these evil humans loot everything. Let me at them. Seriously, I can take these guys. I pull, I twist. I'm desperate to get loose. I'm about to choke myself when Fetch Man deposits me into the eating place. Can't you see what's happening? I bark. If you ever needed a dog to protect you, it's now. Unfazed, Fetch Man snaps the gate across the doorway. I'm trapped. What are you doing? I bark. Are you nuts? I jump my highest, but I'm no match for the gate. I can't keep this up for long. My legs are getting tired and my bark is wearing out. Danger is happening right here in our home, and all I can do is watch. And worst of all, I got separated from Hattie when I was supposed to be sticking by her side. There goes the plan. So that is chapter 1, and it's a
Bravo.
Thank you. So it is a cliffhanger. So I want to talk about a few things from the book. And Lord, Casey, Kaylee, and Nathan, you can jump in at any time. As Martin said, thank you, Victoria, for sharing this story with the world. My students, their families have enjoyed every moment of reading and connection. So
I'm so happy to hear that.
So let's talk about favorite parts of the book. Favorite parts of the book. So let's go ahead and why don't we start with you, Victoria? Favorite part of the book?
Has everyone finished it? So
yes.
I don't like to spoil things. My favorite part of the book is when Hattie comes sneaking into the kitchen wrapped in the sleeping bag, and Fenway thinks that she's turned into a giant squirrel. That is my favorite part.
Yes. What about you, Sarah?
So we are already on the 4th book. So it's so hard for me to keep to which story is which. But I think in the first book, my favorite part is just when Fenway is trying to figure out where Hattie went, and she went up into the treehouse. And he doesn't understand because he can't get up there with her. I love that part.
I kind of like that.
What about you, Nathan?
Same.
You can say pass and I can come back to you.
No, I'm fine, actually. Same. I think it's kind of funny.
Okay. He said he's fine saying it.
He says the same part of the book. I will say that he just got back from camping with Dad. So Fenway into the Wild, we've made a whole lot of connections to. Those of you who just have finished Fenway and Hattie, if you get to Fenway and Hattie in the Wild, can you imagine Fenway camping?
No. It's kind of funny.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Coco's a jerk.
It is so funny.
Yes, she's terrible. You know, I just want to ask you, Johnsons, everyone that I know who has read all 4 of the books likes the 4th one the best. What do you think?
So we haven't quite finished the
You
fourth
haven't
one
finished.
yet.
Okay. Well, let me know.
We really enjoy it. I have to say, we enjoyed the Evil Bunny gang too.
Yeah.
And we were inspired to pull out a few science magic tricks that we have at the house by Up to New Tricks. But so far, this one we've been able to make a lot of personal connections to.
That's great to hear.
Love that.
I
Hi,
like that
Reggie.
one the best.
So let's see who wants to go next.
I would like to go next.
Okay, Laura will go, and then Casey and Kaylee, you can go.
My favorite part was when the family moved and Fenway didn't understand how the house, and he slipped on the floor and crashed into the wall.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot about that part.
Yeah,
that was a
chapter 2.
Thanks for sharing. What about you? Kaylee and Casey? Casey and Kaylee?
My favorite part of the book was at the end when just one simple thing he did was listening to Hattie's command to sit or stay. That made Hattie feel really good. So he thinks everything is back to normal now.
So I had several favorite parts. It was anytime he interacted with the squirrel because he made squirrels seem so horrible. And from a dog's perspective, if a squirrel looks like that, I can understand why they chased them out of the yard. So every time he mentioned the squirrel, he made it seem like they were huge, these vicious animals. And those were my favorite parts whenever he interacted with the squirrel, every single part. I love those. So I'm glad you can join me too, Gatsy. So let's talk about this. We always talk about a takeaway from the book, a lesson that you learned from the book. So I want you to think about it. And I always have the author to go last, Victoria, because you have one perception you intended for everybody to get, but it's always amazing to hear from everybody else what they got from the book. So who would like to go first? Hi, Ms. Rawls. Anybody? Go ahead, Sarah.
So I just learned how very important my relationships are with my little four-legged critters. We have 3 of them in the house, and we also have a tortoise, like similar to your turtle, Dr. George. And they are just such important family members for us. And I also learned, well, maybe not learned, but it was just a funny moment. We sat around as a family thinking about what our dogs call us in their heads. Food Lady and Fetch Man are such wonderful monikers in the book. So I don't know. What do you think the dogs call me?
Yeah, it's something I can't say on a live television show.
And that's my son. All right.
Well, thank you, Nathan.
You're welcome.
Thank you for thinking first. What about you, Lork? What is a lesson? Or Casey, either one of you, Lork or Casey. You can unmute.
One lesson that I learned from the book was that to never give up, because Fenway he never gave up in trying to make Hattie become normal again and play with him again. And in the end results, she finally played with him.
Lork, do you have one? Can you hear us? Jude? Okay, there we go.
You have to think of the dog's point of view, and because sometimes when you only think of yourself, like you're not thinking of the dog's feelings or someone else's, and then you only care for yourself.
Love that. And mine was things aren't always what they appear to everyone else. The way we see things may not be the way not just pets, but other kids, other adults see things. So we need to respect other people's point of view. We can all learn from one another. So the lady of the hour. Let's hear your perception of your own book.
Well, Lorik and Dr. George, you both touched on what I think is the biggest takeaway from the book, which is that there are two sides to every story. If Hattie were telling the story instead of Fenway, I think it would go a little bit differently. And that just goes to the point. You know, every single one of us is an individual, whether we're a person or a dog or another animal. And every single one of us has our own unique perspective. That means, how do we understand things? How do we experience things? How do we see things? And no two of us are exactly the same. And I think that can, once we realize that can make us better friends, can make us better family members, better classmates, better community members. Because when we become more curious about other people, instead of thinking that they should be thinking exactly the same way as we do, we can ask more questions and listen more and become more understanding. And I think that's the takeaway for me.
Love that. So we're at the end, but you have to tell us where they can buy the book. Where can they purchase the book?
Well, the books are available at any bookstore. They're also available online at any place where books are sold. So Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Target, Walmart, any place where books are sold. I have links on my website if anybody wants the convenience of that. My website is victoriajcoe.com. It's also listed on the books in case you forget, right in the back. And right on the homepage, I have links where you can buy all of the books. And you can also watch all the book trailers.
Love that. I put it in the comments. So victoriajcoe.com, right?
It's .com, yeah.
So I put it in so everybody has that web address. So I always like to part with a message. So I always say, if no one else tells you, Dr. George loves you, and you can say your own parting phrase. Miss Victoria, would you like to go?
I just wanted to say thank you for having me. And to everybody who's here, I had a really fun time connecting with you. And I just want to encourage everybody to keep reading.
Thank you. Miss Johnson and Nathan?
So we just really want to encourage everyone to keep reading together. We've got this great momentum going. We've all been reading together for almost a month now. Let's not stop. Keep on getting those books out every evening and reading together as a family.
I just want to.
Oh, do you want to say anything? No. Okay. Go ahead. Who wants to go next? Oh, go ahead, unmute.
It was an honor meeting everyone, and today was really special because I got to meet one of the most well-known authors here. So it was a very good honor here.
Thank you. Lorik?
I would like to encourage everyone to keep reading a lot of books. And I want to thank everyone for inviting me here.
You're so welcome. So guys, of course, Tucked-In Tuesday, every Tuesday at 7:30. So if you have your pet, if you want to get your pet in one time to get their little picture on the screen or the book, she's got a bear. Is that half bear that was mentioned in the book?
Oh, this is Pooh. This is Pooh. Do you recognize him?
I do. So here's Franny, my very active, not shy at all, box turtle. You want to introduce your pets, Ms. Johnson?
So this is Snickers. This over here is Reese. And on the floor, bumping the table with her big self, is Skittles. All of our dogs are named after candy. Yep.
So I love that. So thank you all for joining us. And March is National Women's Month. So salute you, Victoria. Keep writing. Boys and girls, keep reading. Make sure you get that AR quiz number that you see scrolling at the bottom on the ticker. You guys have an amazing night all night. Thank you, guys. Good night.
Bye, everybody.